Hi, class. All right, how you guys doing? Welcome to week one. So I just want to reinforce the fact that I use announcements a lot, guys. If you ever get caught up, if you're somewhere in the class, like let's say you're in the assignments page or something, and you want to get back to the announcements, just come right up here. And this will work anywhere, right there at the top of the page. Just click that, and it'll bring you back to announcements. And now, as I said, I use announcements extensively. So be sure to always check your announcements. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on for week one. So basically, we're talking about resumes and cover letters this week. So there's a few things that I'll go over the assignments in 1 second. But the first thing I want to do is I want you to take a look at these three. Actually, these three resources are directly from the class. And then I've got some supplementary resources that I definitely recommend you take a look at. The first three are for cover letters, and the last three are for resumes. And you guessed it, week one is all about resumes and cover letters. So basically, this is the basic formula, guys. Now, as a graphic designer, you want to establish a good, solid resume. Now, we don't just send a resume off. We send our cover letter off with the resume. The basic formula goes like this. A hiring professional will receive your package, right? And in the package, there will be a cover letter and a resume. The cover letter has got to be crafted beautifully. If it's not, there's a good chance the resume won't get looked at. The general formula is this. A great cover letter gets your resume looked at. A great resume gets your portfolio looked at. And a great portfolio, you guessed it, gets you the job. Okay, so these resources are extremely important. Now, this week we'll be crafting our resumes and our cover letters. So be sure to go through these resources, all of them, very, very, very important. This week is really, it's basically where the rubber hits the road is the resume and the cover letter. So please spend ample time with these resources so you can wrap your head around exactly what's expected, not only in this process, but in this process as it relates to creative fields such as design. Okay. So I want to mention this, that in your professional careers, there's a real good chance that the resume and the cover letters, the drafts that you come up with in this class, they're not going to be your final drafts. Okay. That's pretty much for sure. Let me just give you an example. I've been a graphic designer for over 25 years. I've got international clients. I've won international design awards. I've been a teacher in higher education for over 10 years. I've won actually international. I'm not trying to float my boat here, guys. Honestly, I just want to give you a basic foundation. I've won excellence in teaching awards throughout the years. The reason I'm telling you this is that I still regularly visit my resume regularly. And I make updates all the time. And that's to be expected. Because you craft your resume in your senior year doesn't mean that's going to be the resume or the portfolio basic foundation, the resume, portfolio basic foundation, cover letter basic foundation that you'll use for the rest of your career. That's just not the way it works. It's an evolving art. And it's up to us as designers to keep up and keep our resumes and cover letters current. Okay, another thing I want to mention about cover letters and resumes is in the cover letter, basically the formula is this. When you go in to take a look, and here's a basic kind of synopsis of the job search. So basically what you do is you find the job ad, right? Then you look at the job ad and you craft your cover letter based on the information in the ad. So if the ad itself says, looking for somebody who's very, very well developed and outstanding proficiency in writing. So in your resume and cover letter, you would want to mention that, extensive experience, copywriting, etc., however you want to word it. But the idea is that your cover letter and your resume reflect the needs in the want ad. Okay, so that's a pretty important concept. If you need clarification on that, just get with me. I'll be glad to make clarifications with examples. Okay, now in the creative fields, you have some liberties that we can't take in other fields, that other fields just won't work. And one of those is the way that the resume looks. So in other fields, less creative fields, you don't have the liberty of going unique or going bold like this, right? You're basically kind of stuck with going clean. In design, you can go clean if you want. You can go bold, you can go unique, any way you want, as long as the resume successfully communicates you as a designer in terms of your skills, your experience, and your education, and your intent, right? So keep that in mind. Now, I do want to mention and just kind of reiterate the fact that a lot of this class is going to be up to students really working on their own. Okay, I'll be honest with you. A lot of students think portfolio class is going to be a breeze. Oh, hey, all we do is put our work together for presentation. And that could not be further from the truth. And I really want you to understand the importance here. This class is going to give you an understanding of how the process works. Okay, now, as I mentioned, there's a chance that the resume and cover letter you come up with for this assignment is not going to be the one that you use, right? And nor should it be. It should be understood that a lot of this stuff is iterations, reiterations, and crafting to the highest degree of expeditious presentation that you possibly can. And of course, that involves editing and re-editing. Okay, so the reason I mention this is that I don't want students to think, well, I craft my resume and that's it. I use it for every job I apply for. Like, I have a lot of students contacting me saying, hey, I've been applying for many, many jobs and I'm not getting any calls back. And the first thing I say is, hey, do you craft your cover letter based on the job ad? And they say, well, no, I just used the same cover letter that I used. And I say, what about your resume? Did you craft your resume to highlight the skills that the job is looking for? And the student says, well, no, I didn't do that. I just used my original resume. And I say, okay, that makes sense. Now try personalizing the resume and the cover letter to the job ad and you'll find results. And sure enough, 10 times out of 10, the student gets back to me and says, hey, I got an interview. I made those changes and I got an interview. You see what I'm saying? So that should really illustrate the importance of keeping up on your resumes and your cover letters. Okay, guys, so basically that's what I have. I do want to make one other mention here in this announcement. We have right down here at the bottom here, moving forward. Now, later on in the class, we are going to present our work in a website. That website is going to be assembled in Dreamweaver. All right, now, for those of you, if there's not a likelihood that anyone in this class has not taken GRAF 280, where you learned the basics of HTML and Dreamweaver, but if you haven't or you are not at all confident in your skills, okay, please feel free to use Weebly. It's a free a free site authoring software that please feel free to use that. In a perfect world, everyone's going to use Dreamweaver, but if you find that you're not confident or don't have the skills necessary, please feel free to use Weebly. I do highly, highly recommend that you get on starting your sites very early in the class, like now during week one. During week one, you probably haven't really isolated all of your work that you want to include in a portfolio. Nonetheless, you should be thinking of the basic structure of your sites. Keep in mind, guys, the navigation has got to work perfectly. So that's one place that you might want to start. Also start thinking about the layout of your site, how you want it to work, how you want it to function, how you want it to look, right? Okay, one final thing. Now, in resume and portfolio, it's a best practice to brand your resume and your portfolio. So in other words, this right here, this is this graphic designer's logo, and this is kind of their branding. Okay, so if you have a logo, if you've developed yourself a designer's logo, please feel free to use it. If you haven't, consider developing a logo for branding. You want to brand, you want to establish yourself a brand, you want to use that brand in your job hunt, right? So in the resume and the letterhead, the cover letter, it should be branded with your personal logo. If you haven't created a logo for yourself as a designer, I would say create one. Use Illustrator, make it simple. A simple monogram will work just fine. Remember, you've got time to craft your logo. Right now, we just want to get the basic foundational skeleton down so that we can move forward in an expeditious manner, allowing you to understand this process in its most useful stages. Okay, very, very important, but I definitely don't want this to sneak up on you guys. So let's get this out of the way. Let's start working on the site early in the class. Okay, now, Guys, this is the important thing, all right? If you have any questions about what I've just said in the last 10 minutes or so, please contact me immediately. You won't be waiting for me, guys. I'm really good about getting right back to students. So don't ever hesitate to contact me for fear that it's going to take a few days to get back. Quite often, I'm back to you within a few hours, okay? All right, guys, excellent. Welcome to week 1. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, any of the above, please let me know. Thank you very much.